Okay, by now you should have made your photographs and brought them to your computer. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to prepare my files so that I can successfully import them into Photoshop in order to create an animated GIF. So first thing I'm going to do is create a new folder. I'm going to call this folder animation. I'm going to bring my photos into this folder. But first, before I do that, they're right here. I got to rename them. So it's important that you name them. So, oops. Yep. It's important that you rename them. So this one I'm going to call frame space 1.jpg. And the next one I'm going to call frame space 2.jpg. And they have to be in order like this. So they have to, Photoshop is going to recognize when you number your files and they have the same name and basic nomenclature that's similar from one or identical from one to the next. It'll recognize it as a sequence and import them in order. What's really important though is that you don't write frame 1.jpg, then frame space 2.jpg. It's all got to be the same. So you got to decide, is it frame 1 or frame space 1. Okay, I elect frame space 1. So what I'm going to do next is put these files into the folder, the animation folder. There we go. Next thing I'm going to do is open Photoshop. And this is the basic screen for starting a project. I'm going to click Create New. And the next thing I want to do is navigate over here. I could select photo, print, art, and illustration. I'm going to select film and video. All right, and that's going to give me some film and video presets. Now, I'm going to have to go click View All Presets because I want to find NTSC-DV right here. And that is 720 pixels by 480 pixels. So I'm going to click that and just navigate over here. I'm going to call this Animated GIF. Stinger Carla. So when you're labeling your files from now on, I want to make sure that you put your name in there. So whenever you upload anything, make sure that you change the name of your file so that it has your actual first and last name in it. Okay, everything here looks good, so I'm going to hit click Create. So it depends on how much work you do in Photoshop, but if you're working in Photoshop, chances are you're opening up to a screen that looks like this. I'm going to change this because I want it to be a screen that's for animation or doing some film and video work. So I'm going to go to Window here and click on Timeline. That's going to give me some options here down below to create a timeline. Yours might say create frame animation or it might say create video timeline. If it says to create video timeline, just make sure you click on create frame animation. And then what you can do is double click create frame animation and it's going to create a timeline. So right now there's nothing in the timeline yet, but what I'm going to do next is import my images. So I go over here to File, and I scroll down to Scripts. And I'm going to travel over here to the side. I'm going to load files from into a stack. So that's why we did this before, was to get our files organized so we can import as a stack. So we're going to go over here, click Browse, and navigate over to our animation folder. Yours might be on the desktop, whatever. Just make sure that you navigate to your animation folder, open it, and then what you want to do is select your files. And you can do that if you need to do one at a time. You can do one and click Shift and tap the next one if you're working on a Mac, and then hit OK. And you can see that they're in order, which is great. So click Open or click OK. Great. And I just need to go back down here where it says Create Frame Animation and click it again to make sure I get the timeline. Perfect. So you can see that now our different images are set up as separate layers here in the layer panel. And what I'm going to do is import the layers into the timeline. So there's a little column over here. So I'm going to click on that column and I'm going to go select. It says make frames from layers. That's exactly what I want to do. So I'm going to click that and it's going to import both of them, which is fantastic. When we go forward, when we do animation, we might change the frame rate, which is easy by clicking here and then setting it to a different number. And you can play around with that. But I really want you to have for this one, I want you to have actually no delay, so it's 0 seconds in between. You want to make sure that forever is selected, not once, not 3 times, but forever, because that means it's going to go loop. So I'm going to down here is my control panel. So I'm going to click the play button, which is this arrow right here. Click play, and you can see it's working. Great. Now the next thing I want to do is export this. So I'll go File, and then I'm going to go down to Export, where it says Save for Legacy. I'm going to click that, and I can preview it if I like. And look, it's working. So close out of that. And everything here is set up already. It's optimized for this. I just want to make sure the looping option says forever. I'm going to click Save. And then I have an option of doing images only, HTML only. I'm just going to click HTML and images. And I'm going to name this animated GIF Stinger Carla. And click Save. Now I can close out of here and go over to my animation folder. And you see there's a file here for animated GIF, it's Carla, but there's also an HTML one. If you double click that one, that'll open up your browser and you'll be able to watch it. And that's it. Now all you have to do is upload it to the discussion board.